August Saturday in San Francisco. Fogust behind me, walking toward the sunshine. Today you're gonna get a little tour of Nopa, one of the up and coming neighborhoods, has been for like a decade in San Francisco, but it's a day off from football. And I wanna talk about a roster trick that the 49ers will certainly use. They've already essentially broadcast their intentions to use it to carry more players on the 53-man roster. So the cutdown is on Tuesday. 49ers have to go from 80 to 53 on Tuesday. Obviously a very crowded roster situation for them. So they're gonna have to finagle their way in every which way possible to make sure that they carry as many players as possible. Now, Jimmy Ward is hurt. He's got a pretty significant hamstring strain, which turns into a tear. Every kind of strain is a tear to some degree, but if it's really a grade 3, that means that there's a lot of tearing going on and he's gonna be out for a little bit. That means that he's definitely not gonna play for the start of the season. And because of that, you have to figure out a way to maintain a roster spot for Jimmy Ward so he could come back later in the year, because if you put him on IR before the 53-man cutdown, if he doesn't make the 53, then Jimmy Ward can't return at all in 2022. So he's gonna make the 53, Jimmy Ward is, but as soon as he makes the 53, you put him on IR so he's eligible to return after 4 games. And then you can bring back one of the veterans who you cut at the initial 53. You just have to have a deal with one of those veterans whose contract isn't guaranteed or anything. You have to tell him, hey, this is how it's gonna work. We're gonna put Jimmy Ward on the initial 53, but we're putting him on IR right away. Spot opens up, and we're gonna re-sign you. They can do this with a guy like Malik Turner. They can do it potentially with Jermichael Hasty. Dante Johnson is a candidate for this. I mean, Dante Johnson has had 34 transactions in his 8 or 9 year NFL career. The 49ers have given Dante Johnson 14 different contracts. Dante has signed 14 different contracts with the 49ers because they've used him oftentimes for machinations just like this. So I could see the 49ers obviously doing this with Jimmy Ward's spot, but there could be somebody else like Ambry Thomas, who's been out of practice for the last week plus with a knee injury. They can also carry him on the 53, stash him on IR, have a sweetheart deal, kind of a backdoor deal with one of these veterans to bring him back. And that way you can carry really more than 53 players on the roster. So we'll see how the 49ers decide to do that. So I stopped here in Nopa because there was a fire here 3 days ago, right in this building. This is the fire when I walked by before I went to the coffee shop about 2 hours ago, the fire department was here examining what was going on. Now, this was a big fire. You could look it up on YouTube. This is Divisadero and McAllister. And supposedly a woman was saved by the fire department when she escaped through the roof. She went up on the roof and they got her from there. Yeah, I mean, this was a gnarly fire though. It was a big one. And you could tell that it just completely gutted this building. And they got it all boarded up down at the bottom. So obviously a lot going on in the city here, and I hope nobody was hurt, but based on what I read, they did save the woman via the rooftop. All right, so we're gonna continue walking here. This is Divisadero and McAllister. This is Nopa, north of the Panhandle, San Francisco. A neighborhood that's gotten a lot more expensive, probably a lot safer here over the last 10 to 20 years. And there's a lot of interesting stuff along the Divisadero corridor. So I'm not gonna be eating on lunch with Lombardi today, but I'll be taking you guys through and showing you some of the spots as we walk down Divisadero. So I'm gonna flip the camera around. Here's Diviz. Que Fico, that's relatively new. Go by the bus stop here. This taqueria, this has been here for years. You talk about a little bit of a grease pit taqueria. If you need your late night burrito, only have these guys if you're drunk though. I can't do El Rancho Grande when I'm sober. But Que Fico, Italian. Keep on moving through here. If you guys have any questions about the Niners, let me know before we get to the next spot. Gonna swing by the Mill, the home of overpriced toast that got featured in the New York Times like 12 years ago. The symbol of San Francisco gentrification. We got a Hopefully not another fire, because we got another fire vehicle coming by. That's what I get for doing the, oh God, this guy's going the counter traffic, but I guess you get past people doing that. Anytime I do a show in the city, I guess we get a lot of exciting background ambiance. Those of you who just joined, you could rewind to the start. I talk about the roster machinations the 49ers could use. They're definitely going to use it with Jimmy Ward. He's going to go on IR, but he's going to make the 53 so that he could return this year. They're going to have a deal with a veteran, one of the veterans who's currently on the 53. They're going to say, hey, we're going to cut you, but we'll bring you back as soon as we put Jimmy on IR so they don't risk losing him. Now, you probably can't do it with a guy like Kerry Hyder, for example, because he's got $750,000 guaranteed. So if you did it with Hyder, you'd cut him, you'd have to pay the $750K from the old contract, and then you'd have to pay him at least the veteran base minimum. So you'd be giving him a big pay raise. So you probably wouldn't do it with Hyder. But you do it with a player who has a non-guaranteed contract. JaMychal Hasty, for example, is on $895,000 non-guaranteed. All right, so now I could flip it over. This is the mill. This is the place, the mill, where the New York Times said in San Francisco you can buy $4 toast. Now that seems cheap now, years later, but it was like the original article that put a spotlight on gentrification in San Francisco and the fact that you could buy overpriced toast. So that was the mill. In fact, why don't we jaywalk right here, get across the street. Hopefully we don't get run over. It's a little windy, apologize. Take you guys by the mill. All right, I made it safely. Check this place out. Here are people eating their overpriced toast. The mill. Go check it out. So now we move. I didn't want to cross the street and then have to go back, but like this is actually a good view. Nopa used to be a lot of places like this, a lot of auto shops, and you still see the old kind of legacy. And then it used to have, I'm going to try to shield the wind from the mic here, but used to have a very, very, we'll put it run-down barbecue joint, and then a butcher shop in the Mission called 4505 bought the spot and created a little outdoor patio, as you can see there. So that's 4505 barbecue. Much more expensive than the place that used to be there before. Again, like, you can see the old auto shop kind of legacy of the neighborhood, but then right across the street, Beretta, which was like one of the original gentrifiers of the Mission. They have a restaurant now in Nopa. I think Emporium's open. Maybe I'll step into Emporium to show you guys. It's a crazy place. I'll have to be on live as I'm stepping in. So yeah, Beretta anyway, that place right there, that place is solid. That you could get like pizzas and small plates. A lot of, I mean, it's still gritty, right? You still got the graffiti, but you have a lot of these trendy places. Now, if Emporium is open, which I hope it is, I think you guys will like the inside of this spot. This is where I watched the Warriors in the finals against the Raptors a couple years ago, huge game, and also this past year I caught a game. So hold on, let me see if Emporium's open. Let me get past security here. How's it going? Good.
Go ahead and give you a stamp.
Appreciate it, man.
I just got to check your bag real quick.
Oh, sure. 1 second. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right, we made it in. They had to check my bag, but we're good. So this is Emporium. This is a former theater, like event space that they've turned into obviously a game room and a massive screen. And the sweet spot is that you can go up to the balcony here of what used to be the seats. And when they have a big Niners game or Warriors game on or whatever, then you could watch from up there and you'll see the screen. Why don't I even go up take you guys up. Go up the steps. Go to the balcony. This is, if you want to chill and watch the game, you go up here and you can get like stadium seats. During the Warriors games though, it got like thousands of people. It was crazy. I think I even have a video up on my YouTube of it. All right, so now we're going to the top. See where we are? Made it all the way. And as you can see, they have a bar here, pool tables. And seats. And there's the big screen. Got an NFL game on right now. So just imagine this with like 1,000 people packed in for a massive NBA Finals game or a massive 49ers game, and the place roars like it's a goddamn stadium. Like it sounds like you're inside an arena with the acoustics because you have so many people. So if you want a sports bar experience where you have the crowd that sounds like you're in a actual sporting venue, I would recommend this. It's Emporium in Nopa on Divisadero. So we're gonna step back out. I'm gonna show you guys the best breakfast burrito spot in San Francisco. It's right across the street. There's like so much cool stuff packed into a small neighborhood here, which makes it really neat. Gotta get this backpack fixed. There we go. I'll walk the stairs. All right, head out. Thanks, man, appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, so we're back on the street. Right here. Beanbag Cafe. Been there forever. Best breakfast burrito in the city, in my opinion. The 24 bus is blocking our view of the Beanbag Cafe, but right there, that's what you want to hit up. Excellent, excellent breakfast burritos. They have beer too, if you like beer. Alamo Square is a block up this way. I'm not gonna go, well, maybe I could go to Alamo Square for you guys. Yeah, we'll do the grand finale to Alamo Square. Buy Right Ice Cream. No, this is one of the original restaurants in the area, Nopa. It's a good spot. Kind of named the neighborhood after the restaurant, as you can tell. And then you get your ice cream right here at Buy Right. Although they changed up their they get the ice cream back there, I think. They changed up their setup. They used to have the ice cream right here. Oh well. All right, we're gonna go up to Alamo Square. This is fun. If you guys have any Niners questions, let me know. I talked about the roster machinations they could do earlier. Figured day off, do something fun, give you guys a little bit of a tour. We've left Divisadero, we're on Hayes now. And our grand finale will be a good one. I'm gonna lose my breath though, walking up this street. What's cool is like during the season, I live 3 blocks away from here. So I could go to all these coffee shops, and that's where a lot of the content, written content for The Athletic, is gonna be produced. Any chance that Jimmy G stays on board? There's always a chance, but that's not how the 49ers are thinking. I think he would have to stay aboard at a massively reduced salary, and I think that he wants his options to be open. Jimmy would rather sign where he can clearly be the starter, and at some point somewhere, maybe that's as soon as next week, that becomes a realistic option for him, which is why I think he would prefer a release. And if he prefers a release, then he shouldn't accept less money from the 49ers. So he puts them, he puts their back up against the wall if he says, no, I'm not accepting less money, even though his contract's not guaranteed until September 10th. That encourages the 49ers to release him. Then he could sign anywhere. Now, the 49ers, they don't want Jimmy to sign right now with Seattle. If that's what he's going to do, which seems like a possibility, given quarterback demand there. They just named Geno Smith the starter. And I don't think he's going to be a viable starter for them. Well, that's what he's going to do. Then the 49ers want to stop that from happening for as long as possible so he doesn't get practice with Seattle when the 49ers play the Seahawks in week 2. Yeah, I think Poe makes the squad. I have him on my 53-man roster projection. He's been taking some reps with the ones, and I think he could be a specialty weapon. All right, we're going into the park. If I start losing my breath, it's because I'm walking up a steep hill trying to do a live for you guys. This is Alamo Square. You guys are gonna like this. It's gonna be a neat one. I'm not talking as much anymore. These hills, when you're holding up the camera and talking, trying to do a show, these hills are no joke. This is my workout for the day, number 1. Next, I'm going to aquatic park. I'm gonna swim with the sharks and the seals, all those friendly sea creatures. That's gonna happen in about an hour. So this is Alamo Square. Oops. Got people picnicking. Now these people, they don't mind the cold as much because they're looking out toward the fog. No, Verrett is just recovering from last year. You can put a guy on PUP, physically unable to perform, if he hasn't practiced yet this season. So Verrett's on PUP, eligible to return as soon as week 5, but you can't just put everybody on PUP. It has to be a guy that got hurt the year prior. That's Verrett. You have to do IR for other players, and if you want them to be eligible to return for 2022, that IR designation has to come after they make the 53-man roster. All right, just wait for the money view. If anybody's in Alamo Square and wants to come on the live, come find me. I'm 6'5", so I'm not hard to spot. This is like the longest live show that I've done walking around. So that would be interesting. A lot of people out here. Just wait here though. You're gonna get the payoff in 1 second. It's really windy at the top, so I apologize. Oh boy, a lot of people here. So you guys remember Full House? Iconic TV show. They had an intro montage that made the rounds for sure. Especially those of us who grew up in the 90s know the scene from the intro montage. Well, it is right. There it is. The Painted Ladies, Alamo Square. Nice and windy. All right, there you go. There you have it. That's it for me. I guess I could repeat what I said earlier because a lot of you hadn't been on the show yet. So just very briefly, 49ers got to cut down to 53. It's too windy, isn't it? Just watch the start of the show. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hope you found some new spots in San Francisco. 49ers going to run some tricks to stash more players than 53 on their 53-man roster. All right, Everybody take care. Enjoy your Saturdays. It's a beautiful one in the city. No, I don't think Jordan Mason makes the cut. Everybody take care.